Before you watch this episode of our City Current radio show, I want to invite you to join City Current's e-learning and online personal development platform called Growth Current. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the City Current radio show and CEO of City Current. Growth Current is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, our good friend, John Carroll. He is the Executive Director for City Leadership. John, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. Really excited to be on here today.
So you all do so much, and I'll let you kind of dive in a little bit, but give us kind of the 50,000-foot view of city leadership. Let's start there.
Yeah, so City Leadership's a nonprofit. I started it 10 years ago, and it exists to recruit, develop, and catalyze leaders for the city of Memphis. And what we really do, Jeremy, is we believe is that the orgs that are helping those neighbors of biggest need, that those orgs need help doing that work even better. And so we don't try to replace those orgs. We try to help them, whatever they're trying to do, teach kids better, recruit people to work in their fields, try to come up with better programs, alliance to work together more. We try to be a bridge to solve problems that are hard for nonprofits to be able to scale and solve, because it might just be a one-time problem that they have that needs to happen. And so we come in and try to do it, or it could be a shared service that it doesn't make sense for them to hire another full-time person to do something they need 12 hours a month. And so we come in and try to create alliance around some of those kinds of things. And so, but we try to help the good guys do extra good. And we're after that every single day.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I love about you and your team. You're creative problem solvers, but it's all built around making the community better, empowering the good. People might not know city leadership, but you really are the brains and kind of the brawn behind Choose 901. Give a little bit of just that, and then we'll dive back into a lot of the ways that we can help and power nonprofits. So give us a little teaser though on Choose 901.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So Choose 901 is a campaign of city leaderships where we try to promote Memphis as the premier city in the country to invest and enjoy your life. We think that there's no other place where you could make a bigger difference and have a more fun than Memphis. And so we try to promote that, especially the college graduates or people in their 20s who are mobile, looking for a place like, hey, I want to do something with the next season of my life that matters, but I want to have a fun and I want to enjoy myself while I do that. And so we promote the city, and that it all came about though because clients back in 2011 were coming to the table individually with the problem of, hey, we've got 20 spots funded. We only had 12 applications. We accepted 10, 9 showed up. Like I got 11, I need 11 more people and I've got the money. What do I do? Or we've got 55 spots, but we have 300 applications, but only 30 were qualified. Like, how do I get the right people to apply? And so we were trying to solve some of that mass marketing communication and really solve the big question, especially for millennials, which is, will I enjoy living my life there? And so we use the enjoy kind of side as like a Trojan horse to be able to communicate the opportunity to invest your life in Memphis. And so it's really taken a life of its own, as and really a lot of the people in Memphis that were just dying and clamoring for a place to show their positivity around the city kind of rallied around the messaging that we were trying to share to people outside of town. And it's become a thing in Memphis, even more so than I think out of Memphis, so to speak. So.
Yeah, but I think it's a perfect example of just how creative you are, but yet it gives us a rallying cry, to your point. At the same time, it's a marketing campaign to really help the Memphis community. And so it's kind of a neat layered approach. But let's go back to the conversation about helping nonprofits. And obviously with the pandemic, it's created a lot of new challenges, but also new opportunities. And so give us a little illustration for you and your team of just how the pandemic has changed the way that you support nonprofits and the way that you look at problem solving. And then we'll start sharing some tips based on that.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing about quarantine is you're not supposed to be around people, and all this work is around being around people and helping people. It's about being in relationship with people, knowing them well enough to know what they truly need, helping them determine what they need, providing care for them on a consistent basis. And the quarantine really pulls all that apart. And so, we have kind of been in those different seasons of, oh my gosh, what's a quarantine? What do we do? Let's just all stay safe. Let's just pause for a second. Then it was, hold on, we're too far apart. Kids are losing education. Adults need more opportunity. We need to figure out more job stuff. How are we going to restaff? People rotating off. So we still need to be recruiting. And so it was like, okay, well, then it was, all right, yes, we got to be safe, but we got to figure out how to work in the quarantine world and meet the bare minimums. And now, as we're in a new society, in a new way of socially living, it's trying to figure out, okay, how can we make steps towards the progress and ideally thrive to whatever ceiling quarantine allows in all these individual contexts, and be prepared for, the world to go back to normal, as whatever that means. And so, we've kind of hit that stage of, all right, we've hit the bare minimum. How do we find our groove now in quarantine world, and how are we ready to strike when it's over? But the problems come all across the board, because it's everything from, an education training program, a housing program, a bunch of schools that we work with, and then additionally, teacher training programs and such. And so there's just a lot going on, man. And so a lot of complex problems to figure out.
Well, and you deal with such a wide range of nonprofits and schools and customers, so to speak. And so you see a pretty broad bandwidth of challenges and, like you said, opportunities as well. What would you say are some of the biggest pain points? And you kind of listed a few, but I can think too, obviously fundraising is a big one, still finding volunteers and making that a safe experience, because a lot of these nonprofits are still volunteer driven. So I think there's some of those, but what other one would you add to the mix in terms of the challenges that they're coming to you looking to solve?
Well, I think some of it, Jeremy, is just the broken rhythm of the people who were already helping. And so it's just really sad for so many people who want to help and can't, or because of maybe their own health needs, or because of the health protection of the children or the people that they're trying to help. And so, it's not uncommon for a nonprofit to have, 3 or 4 full-time staff, maybe 2 or 3 part-time staff, and then 100 volunteers, 200 volunteers who are coming an hour to 5 hours a week. But when you start adding that stuff up, that adds into a dozen full-time staff of hours and help and engagement and whatever. And so a lot of our organizations are, very loving, thoughtful administrators who coordinate the help of dozens, if not hundreds, of Memphians to come and give and engage. And when you can't do that, it's really, really hard. And so we've got a lot of programs that have shrunk from hundreds of kids to a couple of dozen kids, where just the staff can be with them and kind of be careful and not expose, and either way, any kind of stuff. And so that's really limited, and trying to figure that out. And then additionally, you mentioned fundraising, but trying to help people get the vision of the work that's happening here. Well, most of the time that involves a tour, or coming to see it, or going to an event or something like that. Well, all that's not happening. And even if it did happen, you're only getting to see this little sliver of what really happens, and so really capturing a vision for some of that stuff. And so, it's not just that donations are off this year, which they are, but and honestly, programming's down, and so some expenses are down this year as well. And PPE and all that stuff was there, and so so there's a little margin this year. it's the momentum that's being lost, right? An org that had 100 donors 2 years ago and had 250 donors last year, and their goal was to have 500 monthly donors by this year. They may only have 230 monthly donors now. And so when they go into next year, even if the world turns back on, like we've been saying, it's going to be hard for them to get their 500. The momentum's lost, and they're going in at minus 20 from where they started last year. So that kind of stuff is really hard, because the need for the people is maybe even greater than ever before, but the opportunity in the traditional way that we've kind of shared those opportunities to engage is more complex than ever before.
Yeah, I like that word momentum. I think that's a great way to look at it, is losing momentum. And then how do you either regain your footing or try to build momentum? What would you say are some of the creative solutions that you're seeing? And that's either with your team or just, for all the different vantage points that you have. What are some of the creative solutions?
Yeah. So, well, one, I think you're familiar with our Give 901 corporate program, but what we found is so our Give 901 corporate program, we go into corporations, tell the story, allow corporations to do their payroll deduction stuff, and then the business gets to go in and volunteer at the orgs. Well, man, we made a big pivot this year, and created these summer learning kits and these back to school educational kits and different kind of stuff, and just giving people a way to just give a little something and hear a story and be a part of making a difference. And we had some corporate partners come in. We had over $80,000 raised for these projects through corporate sponsors like T-Mobile and others, to be able to jump in on that. But then just hundreds and hundreds of Memphians who had never given to Give 901 or any of these things before, just kind of jumping in and being like, hey, I can do this, right? And put this little kit together. And a lot of people donated that kind of stuff. And so that kind of stuff is cool. Over at Advance Memphis, one of our partners, instead of having their big art gala, they had where you could book times to come and see. So the art gala went from except like one night kind of deal. It spread out over a couple of weeks. You got these private viewings. People got a lot more intimate experience. It was actually really, really cool, and so getting creative like that and saying, hey, the whole event doesn't have to go away. Let's just remodel how we do it. I mean, we sell merch not to make money, but to help promote Memphis and different kind of stuff. And so, our big merch sale that we usually do that has several thousand people come at Crosstown in a couple of weeks, instead of doing the big sale, everybody shows up and there's the big line around the building trying to get all the stuff in. We're making it where you sign up for a specific time, you get to come and shop. There's only so many people allowed. And so just trying to adapt, because what we found is that people still want to go out. You just need to control the masses. And I think that has been our number one thing. And then really realizing that people still love great stories. And so trying to tell the stories, doing the video work, doing the audio work, and making the effort to tell the story is still really there. And you've got an audience that's more captive than I think ever before, especially through social media. Now high quality still wins, but they're there. I don't know what y'all's numbers are. We've got an 87%. We're up 87% in engagements, in the sense. I mean, I think we had, I think as of October or something, we're over 48,000 comments just in Instagram alone. That's over an 80% increase in comments from the year before. And it's not even, the audience is only up 10%, and so it's just the engagement is at a whole nother level. And so what we're finding is that if we just keep, since we're not doing events, if we engage well where people are at, we're doing good, and just keep people abreast of that. Now, the problem is still harvesting, people really feeling like their stuff really makes a difference and matters. And that's where we've got to keep communicating for people, is to not feel like, because they're so isolated from it, that any sort of little effort doesn't make a difference. When the whole world's on fire with the pandemic, what's my $25 a month matter to this little school? And it really, really does matter. I mean, they really do add up. And And that's the thing that we've still got to figure out, how to let people get connected to back in their heart of like, hey, I can't solve a world pandemic, but what I can do is I can give to this school and help one kid get a better education.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that is your one little piece of the puzzle. And I think if everybody jumped in on that, right? If we had 300,000 Memphians jump in on that, you know, the couple 100,000 Memphians that need a lot of help would be served incredibly, you know.
What puts a smile on your face when you look at the future of kind of where we're headed? And hopefully, you know, we don't know, there's no crystal ball for coming out of the pandemic, but when you look at the ability to create some momentum, to come out stronger on the other side, what puts a smile on your face for that?
Well, I think in Memphis, I think part of what puts a smile on my face is that we're just, you know, we're the biggest hometown in the country, right? I mean, we you know, we always say is, you know, we got big city amenities and a hometown feel, and we're just more unique on that than I really think any city that I know in the country that has the diversity of all these big city things. But the fact that you can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody, you know, right? And the fact that you can be in a hometown where you can, you know, walk in the coffee shop and have a hard time to get to your table because you know everybody as you're passing, that kind of stuff. And that's just so unique and special. And so I think that in the midst of this kind of the world that we're living in, people want to be known. You know, that's a deep desire of every human is to know others and be known. And I think in a city like this, where there's an opportunity to do that, we less than ever before, you know, we've got the same people wanting to flee to a big city and think that they're missing out on something. And so, I think that people are going to be hunkered in here and think, man, I really picked the right place. It's really awesome. And then I still just believe in all the studies that we do show nationally is that Memphis is still just primed for these next couple of decades, like very few cities in the country. So many other cities experienced their big growth in the previous century. And I think Memphis, with a handful of other cities in the country, will have their big century right now. And I think that especially as the world changes and because there's so much left undeveloped in Memphis, it'll be developed properly in a post-pandemic world in a way that still values hometown and in a way that more than ever is going to involve, you know, the pursuit of justice for all people, especially our Black and brown neighbors and people of color who have been left on the margins historically throughout our nation, but obviously lead this city, are this city, have built this city, and deserve every bit of the focus that they're getting in this city. And I just, as we look towards that future with so much wet cement, so much opportunity, so much space to build, and the world aligning towards justice, the world aligning towards post-pandemic, and the world looking for a way to keep being known in something special, I think Memphis is just ready for all that. And that just makes it, I'm such a futurist, and I'd put our 20 years up against any city's 20 years, next 20 years in the country. So
love it. And I love your outlook, and I love your perspective and the insight in terms of you do, especially with the work you do, you see all these different sides, and it frames it perfectly. So wrap up on your end with website, contact information. Where would you direct everyone to learn more about not only city leadership, but some of your major initiatives?
Yeah, you can check out our org, City Leadership, cityleadership.org, and look at our website. But really, we're there to serve other stuff, and you're welcome to check that out. But you know, Choose 901 is kind of the epicenter of our communication hub. You know, Teach 901 is where we're sharing about every single significant teaching job in the community and how to get aligned on that and how to help teachers. You know, teachers are heroes, just like, you know, policemen and firemen. They deserve to be celebrated every single day. Just like our veterans, they deserve to be honored for the tour of duty that they do, whether it's 5 years or 50 years. And, you know, it's so special, the work they do. So Teach 901. Serve 901. If for some reason you got a college group wants to come in town, we're not hosting many trips right now, but that's our big serve trip. And then Give 901. Give 901 is where we are putting more and more effort. We're creating more focus for people. And honestly, Jeremy, what's happened is over the past 10 years, we've built this big tribe through Choose 901 of people who care about the city, love it, moved here, stayed here, want to make a difference here, believe in this place. And they've been doing that personally. And now they're trying to figure out, okay, now I'm on in my career. I want to give back. I want to give back financially. I want to give back time-wise. I want to give back through my company. And Give 901's where we're doing that. And we're showing people how they can be able to do something really easily, really scalable through their company or just independently, and be able to make a significant impact very quickly. And we kind of view it as being able to get involved in a story and be a part of writing that story for the next decade. And so go check out give901.org. It's really special. And so we'd love for you to do that. Last thing I'd say is just a big encouragement. A lot of people don't know this, but as of right now, we have 1,434 Choose 901 alumni. So those are young adults who've graduated from one of our partner high schools, and they've graduated and they've been in college or in a trade school or wherever, and we've been helping them finish their education and get connected to jobs and move back to Memphis. We're going to graduate 250 more this next May, with 420 coming May of 2022, and over 400 a year after that. And there is just this unbelievable crop of young adults, young Memphians that are coming to be a part of our future in a huge, significant way. And we are creating opportunities for them to get hired, get jobs here, and make sure that this talent that our city has built and developed doesn't get recruited away to other cities. They care about this city. They want to be involved. And there's so many companies that you're connected with, Jeremy, and that we know and partners know that are going, hey, I want to hire high quality talent, but I want to make a difference in Memphis. I'd love to be a more diverse company. I'd love to be, and they need this talent. And we are about to launch the Choose 901 Talent Board. It is our Choose 901 alumni with their degrees, what jobs they're looking for, whether they're looking for an internship, a part-time job, full-time job out of college. And we are looking for partners who say, I want to hire Memphis talent. I want to hire young Memphis talent. I want to hire young, diverse Memphis talent. And we can create a pipeline for that. We've been developing a lot of these kids since they were 4 years old and all the way through college. They've gone through these schools and whatever. And so now they're ready for their chance at the baton here in Memphis. They want to run a lap and make a difference. And so I need your help getting the word out. And the webpage is going to go live here in about a month. We've got a pilot page up. We've got a couple of businesses looking at right now, but it is going to be the place to hire young Memphis talent. So Choose 901 Talent Board coming at you. So
I love it. Awesome stuff, John. Well, thank you for all you and your team do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show as always.
Hey, appreciate you, Jeremy. Hey, you've been telling the good news of Memphis so well and so consistently for so long. I'm honored to be a part of today's message, but grateful for all the messages you keep sharing out and all your positivity, man. You keep it up.